The thing that holds me down from evolving the most is part of evolution itself, of course. The suffering of animals and people. How terrible you feel when you see something suffering, and that you know how prevalent it is in the world. But here is something we have to think about if we want to help. And of course we do want to help everybody. And helping ourselves, thankfully, is the best way to do that. And helping ourselves then is the ultimate goal. The thing is, our thoughts are not our own. We are like antennas. The way we've been conditioned to think growing up has a lot to do with it, but it causes us to be on habitual frequencies. And when you're in a negative state of mind, the frequency is lower. There is a threshold to get to higher frequencies. Okay, when you're thinking a thought, if it's a thought of lack or discomfort or hatred even, something constrictive. And of course it's not your real thought that's there. It's that the antenna of you is tuning in to that frequency of consciousness. And you've got to adjust your habitual thinking, because what you habitually think will be the bulkiest, strongest aspect of your life. And your frequency will result in that mood and those feelings. Now, when we want to see the world do better, what happens when we worry about suffering of people? On the level of humanity or on a personal level? Think of it as a Teeter Totter. You've got a suffering person or entity at the bottom of the Teeter Totter, in the slush at the bottom. But you've got to have enough weight on the other end to bring it up. And in the middle where the fulcrum is, that's the threshold. Now on Earth right now, there's a lot of suffering and negativity. We are caught in some outdated belief systems. And to change it, it's going to take a monumental lift. But that's not impossible. In fact, that's why we're here. When there are enough light-hearted souls, literally light in their heart, being lifted, and they are accumulating on the other side of the Teeter Totter. That's going to lift on an accumulative level, on a mass consciousness level. Many people have come to Earth and been born here at this very time because there is a chance. History and science and religion tell us that we have failed in the attempt before. When we evolve to a point where we could use not only our cognitive functions, but the evolutionary improvements we have undergone going through so many experiences in our lifetimes, that we're ready now. Maybe Atlantis was one of the failures. But this time, the fulcrum is going to be different. You've got to be proud of the people that are coming to Earth. The millennials, the ones that have come recently, and that are children becoming teenagers, and the older ones who've stuck it out. There are some truly heroic people and very intuitive people. They've come a long way. And this is the great determination of whether we will go forward this time when the earth is too heavy laden and needs to change. She's a real entity. Like a poor dog that's got so many fleas, she has to give it a shake. Shake everything up. But here we are, worrying about humanity. What is that going to do? That's like if somebody's drowning and you jump in, trying to grab them all and help them all, when the thing that you should be doing is staying outside the pond and not getting all wound up in the chaos, but finding a stick and offering it in there, helping people to climb out. So all the people that are here making an effort to unite and relieve suffering and get on with evolution. Let's use these new faculties we have in our frequencies and our vibrations to tap into higher frequencies and vibrations, because what we are, we will attract. So in order to help everybody, we've got to attract the highest frequencies, of course, of love and hope and focus. Focusing for a longer period of time when you are alone with yourself and determined to make a difference and to evolve. And so we're going to have so much integrity and determination on our end of the Teeter Totter. We're going to lift the fulcrum once and for all and create a new reality for everybody. What does this mean for you? What does it mean for me? We're doing that to ourselves. Instead of worrying about the suffering, what we've been taught, what we believe, we're going to say no. We're going to be open. What do we believe? What is possible if we believe otherwise? What opens up for us? We're getting cornered. And so it becomes necessary to think deeper, to think with more creativity and enthusiasm, and be more imaginative and think, yes, it can be done. Whatever step you're trying to step up into, it can be done. Reach with your intuitive ability. Reach for that frequency. There's a lot of souls that have conglomerated in higher frequencies. Not everybody's in the lower ones. You'll find them. You'll find them. Spirituality and quantum theory suggests that whatever you focus on with intent and feeling, you're not just observing it in material form. You are creating it. You're creating it. Center everywhere, circumference nowhere. Every point of cognition, every point of being in the world, in the universe, isn't there until you create it in your circumstance. Really? It's in a state of superposition, what they call it. Like a wave function. It's not a material particle. But when you determine that you're going to see this or that, you're going to see some help in this world in a certain direction or a certain area. It's not magic. We're uncovering truths that are amazing. And how liberating to realize, yes, we were creating our world and circumstances all along. But we didn't have control. We didn't know what we were creating. We didn't know that we were creating. And when we would focus on an affirmation of something good, and then our emotion was sabotaging us in the shadows, saying, I'll never do this. I can't even believe this could be true. Well, that's like your mind and your heart. They got to be in tune with each other, and they've got to focus, which that's what we do when we're alone and silent. We practice focusing. That feeling where it's a narrow channel, but you stay with it. And you see how long you can stay with it. And you build on your ability to do that. So the rules and regulations of the way you thought the world worked, you can certainly put into question and put those things that you learned from our parents and our parents' parents behind us. Because a lot of them are obscure, outdated. We're onto some new paths. So yes, you've been sabotaging yourself, thinking one way and feeling another way, and not seeing any rewards or any changes in your evolution. But now, we know the present moment is what we have here, and the past we've learned how to circumnavigate, if you will, and the future, all time is in space-time, and we live outside of space-time. If you think of it as a video game with headphones on, we live outside the headphones. We take them off and realize that's a game we made. We played it a certain way, but we were the programmers. And the thing about it is, time is in those headphones. Time and space. So no wonder we have to think broader. We have to think above that game in the program. And the life we've been living, that sure we learned a lot, but we were sabotaging ourselves over and over by not knowing that it was a game. And the reason we kept getting stuck, bless our hearts, was because we wanted to alleviate suffering. So the real way to alleviate suffering is becoming a parent. Create a good scenario. And then create one after the other. And get good at it. Just like the way you got good at diving or playing football. You applied yourself. So if you apply yourself, the fulcrum, the middle of the Teeter Totter, the threshold is going to tip, because there's more of us on the side that was up in the air. We got enough to bring it where we wanted. Bring the suffering that was on the other end up and into a new era. And for us ourselves, there was our suffering on the low end, and we with our new thinking, new ideas, and sincerity of purpose, focused and felt deeper than ever. Not forcing it, but just finally wanting to make something happen. This is enough. If you really want to help suffering, we can do it. We can do it together. And the way we do it is by me doing it. And everybody else understands that. They feel it. And we're all doing the same. And as a team, this time around, we can't lose. In a video game, what you're thinking about gets rendered as you go in that direction. It gets created. What does that tell you? Ultimately, there's no suffering out there. You're creating it. And there's no magic wand, but there's so much power in consciousness. And we are all antennas of that power. We are all specks of light in that great sun. We're little holograms. And in every little object, every little hologram, the whole universe is. It's all included in there. If you cut it in half, the whole of it exists in the half, and on and on. Center everywhere, circumference nowhere. This universe and world aren't anything like we thought. But nature has a pretty darn good way. We render what we need, as does everybody. There is no waste, no garbage left over. We learn our lessons on this earth, which is to understand limitation and cause and effect. And the best way to do that is with toys, the material world. Seeing what they do and how we can do otherwise. A body. Think of what we've learned having a body. Then when we are lighter and more ethereal, what lessons we've learned and what higher frequencies we will enjoy having learned them. And finally, do you have to stop and close your eyes and focus? No. You can do it all day long. When you stay outside of yourself, watching the thoughts and emotions, without judging them and letting them go, not feeding them, you're doing the work. And it's not work. It'll mean your survival, but it's not work. And it's not playing in the game either. You're outside of that. But you're being present in the moment. Every moment of the day, once you get good at it. Just keep doing it. Being aware of who you really are and what you can reach with a frequency and a vibration that's higher. Just like Tesla said, the lower vibrations are like static in a radio. You can't even get them anymore when you're attuned to the right frequencies. A frequency can blow up a bridge. He proved it. And a frequency can determine which reality you're tapping into. Before you even decide, you're like a wave. You have potential of being anything. What the ocean is made out of, the wave is made out of. The wave is the perfect hologram for the ocean. And the ocean is the whole. But once you create, that potential is put into motion. So create well. Now back to the idea of having a body. Yes, this is where you had a body. Why? Because there is no separation between us. Say we're waves, we're all the ocean. So, why the body? Well, like I said, we were learning on this plane of existence to have material surroundings. And why would that be? Well, first of all, why would we have wanted to try this? Having a body and being around material things. We have started taking the rainbow for granted. Looking at it and saying, oh, it's just a rainbow. Imagine what it must have been like for an ethereal platitude to say, oh, I could have this. I could have a body. And what fun would it be to see beautiful colors and travel places and see other bodies and do things with all this material existence. How wonderful. What's the purpose of it? No purpose, really. Consciousness, the universe, is trying to experience itself. There's nothing to do or be. In fact, in evolution, the level of having a body passes. Yes, in my father's house there are many mansions. Civilizations reach times when they've misused ideas and things, and they grow tired and ungrateful. And it's time for the end, for sleep. And the universe is looping back on itself, and it starts again. But who learned a great deal? Who learned not to hold on so tight to material things and appreciate them for what they are, the present moment? If you learn that, you earn something. Not you so much as an individual. Yes, that. But you, the universe, feels something. Could that something be contentment? Contentment in knowing that there's no striving, there's no separation. And if you're tired and disillusioned and depressed, then you haven't found the sweet spot. It helps the universe, gives it momentum, gives it upward swing, which is nature. A river will flow upwards, not backwards. Shadows that we think are ominous and evil are the trough of the wave that has a crest. And to experience it all in motion, the trough and the crest, is a beautiful thing. It's a dance. And if we're good with that, we can move on into more learning, whatever that is, if we've trusted it enough to find a sweet spot. Whenever we're feeling rough, to rise above and tap into that frequency of more freedom and less tension. And we're on our way in a good direction. having to know what's going to happen is not contentment. Contentment is right now, as wild as that seems, as out of the box. He takes care of the sparrow. If you are making good moments in your day, creating them as you go, consistently, then you can say with an open heart, thank you, and see that that will be its own reward for now.